I'm not a lawyer, but have you ever heard of the story behind your Miranda rights? Let me tell you about it. So it has to do with this guy whose name is Ernesto. And in 1963, after a woman is kidnapped and raped, Ernesto is the lead suspect. Officers bring him down to the Phoenix police station and interrogate him for 2 hours. And after that 2-hour interrogation, Ernesto confesses to the crime orally, and then he writes a written confession. So prosecutors take this confession and move on to trial. During the trial, when they try to get this confession admitted into evidence, Ernesto's attorney objects because he says that this confession wasn't actually given freely and voluntarily because officers never read him his rights. Ernesto was never told that he had the right to remain silent and anything he said can and would be used against him in court. And he was also never told that he had a right to an attorney because if an attorney was there, he would have told him to be quiet. But even though Ernesto's attorney raises this objection, the judge overrules it and says that the confession can be admitted. So the trial continues, and after about 5 hours of deliberation, the jurors find Ernesto guilty of kidnapping and rape, and he is sentenced to 20 to 30 years in prison. Now, after the trial, Ernesto's attorney appeals the conviction, arguing that, again, his confession was not given freely and voluntarily because he actually didn't know he had the right to shut up. The Arizona Supreme Court denies the appeal, but then Ernesto's attorneys take it up to the U.S. Supreme Court and they side with Ernesto. In their landmark ruling, they say that everybody must be told that they have the right to remain silent and that they have the right to an attorney. And it is only after a person waives those rights can officers begin with their questions. However, the Supreme Court also ruled that if a person changes their mind, so first they say, yeah, I want to talk to you, and then they say, actually, I want an attorney, the Supreme Court says that questions must stop. So that is the landmark ruling from which the Miranda rights come from because Ernesto's last name was Miranda, Ernesto Miranda. And in case you're wondering, Ernesto's original conviction gets overturned by the Supreme Court, but the state of Arizona decides to retry him. So they have a whole nother trial. They don't use his confession, but he gets found guilty again. And he gets sentenced to 20 to 30 years again. But that is the case. How many of y'all knew that?